Long before you took your first breath, you had already chosen much of what you would experience here. Not as punishment, not as fate carved in stone, but as a design, a silent and sacred plan drawn in light. The soul, in its infinite wisdom, knew what it needed to grow. It knew the faces it would meet, the hearts it would love, and even the storms it would walk through. This blueprint was never about control. It was about purpose. The soul saw life not as a straight path, but as a spiral of learning, where every step, even the ones that seem to go backward, lead closer to awakening. It understood that the greatest treasures are often hidden inside the hardest lessons. Before birth, in realms beyond time, your soul gathered with others, kindred spirits, family, lovers, even those who would one day hurt you. Together, you agreed on roles, lessons, and intersections. Some would come as mirrors, others as teachers, and a few as catalysts, breaking you open so that your light could spill out. These were not random choices. They were promises made in love long before memory began. You chose the body you inhabit now, its strengths, its vulnerabilities, its lineage. You chose your birthplace, your culture, your challenges. Every detail was crafted with precision, not to limit you, but to awaken you. Even your name carries frequencies meant to remind you of who you are beneath the human story. And yet when you arrived, you forgot. That forgetfulness was part of the plan too. Because what meaning would remembrance hold if you never had to find it again? The game of existence was always meant to be one of rediscovery, of walking through darkness to remember your own light. There is no randomness in the soul's design. The delays, the heartbreaks, the unexpected turns, all of them belong. Each moment is like a thread in an intricate tapestry that only makes sense when viewed from above. Down here, you see the knots and the tangles. From the higher view, there is only beauty, precision, and grace. Sometimes, in moments of silence or synchronicity, the soul whispers reminders, a dream that feels more real than waking, a déjà vu that shakes you, a meeting that feels ancient. These are the cracks in the veil where the divine blueprint briefly reveals itself. The truth is, you were never lost. You have always been moving according to a rhythm older than time. Even your mistakes are part of the melody. The soul's design is not about control. It is about trust. You are not a random spark drifting through chaos. You are a deliberate expression of love, unfolding exactly as you were meant to. And if you listen closely, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, you might still hear it, the quiet hum of your own divine plan, guiding you home. No one you meet is a coincidence. Every soul that brushes against yours, even for a fleeting moment, carries a purpose written long before time began. Some will walk beside you for a lifetime, others for a single heartbeat. But all are part of the same intricate choreography designed by something far wiser than chance. Souls recognize each other not through words, but through vibration. You can feel it, that subtle pull in the chest, the strange familiarity in a stranger's eyes, the sense that you've known someone forever, though you've just met. It is not imagination. It is memory. A memory of the place beyond the veil, where souls gathered before birth and whispered, "I'll meet you there." Each meeting carries a message. Some come to teach you patience, others to ignite courage. Some arrive to mirror your light, reminding you of your beauty when you've forgotten. Others arrive to reflect your shadow, showing you the wounds still waiting to be healed. Even the painful connections, especially those, are sacred. They are not punishments, they are awakenings disguised as heartbreak. There are souls who love you so deeply that they agree to play the difficult roles, to challenge you, to leave you, to force you to grow. They stretch your heart so that it can hold more love. And when the pain fades, you realize that they gave you a gift that comfort never could: transformation. Then there are the gentle ones, the souls who arrive like soft light, healing by presence alone. They don't need to say much. Their energy reminds you of peace. These are companions from the same soul family, travelers who've walked with you through many lifetimes. You feel safe with them because, in truth, you've never been apart. Every person is a teacher, even if the lesson only becomes clear years later. Some appear to push you toward your purpose, others to redirect you when you've strayed from your path. The soul never wastes an encounter. Every smile, every argument, every goodbye has meaning woven into it. And sometimes, you are the one playing the role in someone else's story. You may be the stranger who offered the right words at the right time, the mirror that revealed truth, the presence that awakened love. You might never know the impact you made, but the universe does. If you could see your life from above, you would marvel at the symmetry of it all. How every crossing of paths, every conversation, every serendipitous moment fits perfectly into the soul's great design. There are no accidents in love, no coincidences in connection. There is only the eternal movement of souls, remembering each other through the dance of life. And when someone enters your world and everything inside you whispers, "I've met you before," believe it, you have. Pain is not the enemy. It is the messenger, the gentle but persistent knock on the door of your consciousness, asking you to awaken. While the heart may wish to avoid it, the soul knows that pain is one of its greatest teachers. It arrives not to destroy, but to reveal. There are moments when everything you love seems to fall apart, when silence replaces laughter, and the world that once felt certain becomes unrecognizable. These are the moments when life seems cruel, but beneath the surface, something sacred is unfolding. The old structures of identity, the illusions of control, attachment, and permanence are breaking down to make space for something greater. Pain, in its essence, is purification. It strips away what no longer serves you, burning through the layers of fear and ego until only truth remains. It doesn't come to punish you, it comes to bring you back to yourself. Without it, the soul might sleep forever, content in comfort but starved of growth. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every loss is a doorway. You don't walk through it easily. Sometimes you crawl, sometimes you fall apart entirely. But once you emerge, you are never the same. There's a softness where there once was judgment, compassion where there once was pride. You begin to see that what broke you also opened you. The soul doesn't measure growth in success or stability. It measures in awareness in how deeply you can love, forgive, and remain open even after being hurt. Pain teaches that love cannot be conditional. It asks you to love yourself through the darkness, to find meaning where the mind sees only endings. There is a kind of grace hidden in suffering, though it is hard to see when the wound is fresh. But time reveals the truth. The very thing that shattered you was the same force that pushed you toward your awakening. Without loss, you would never have learned to cherish. Without betrayal, you would never have learned discernment. Without grief, you would never have discovered the boundless strength of your spirit. Sometimes, pain is the soul's way of whispering, "You were made for more." It redirects you when you've strayed too far from your essence. It slows you down when you've forgotten to listen. It breaks open your heart so that light can finally enter the spaces you've kept hidden. And when you finally look back from the calm after the storm, you realize that what once felt like destruction was actually creation in disguise. Every tear watered the soil of your becoming. Every loss carved the space for love to grow. Pain is not the end of your story. It is the chapter that teaches you who you are. And when you embrace it, When you stop running and finally listen, you'll find that pain was never a punishment. It was an invitation to awaken, to remember, and to return to love. Every person you meet is a mirror, a reflection of something within you, revealed through the sacred language of relationship. Some mirrors show your beauty, your strength, and your kindness. Others show the shadows you have long avoided, but each one, in its own way, helps you see yourself more clearly. Life is a hall of mirrors. You walk through it believing you're meeting others, but what you're truly meeting are fragments of your own consciousness. Every reaction, every emotion, every attraction or irritation is a message. The people who make your heart expand are showing you what you're ready to embrace. The ones who trigger your pain are showing you what still needs your love. The mirror encounters are not random, they are purposeful. The universe sends reflections to awaken awareness. A friend's compassion reminds you of the gentleness within. A rival's arrogance reveals your own insecurities. A lover's silence exposes your fear of abandonment. And the one who hurts you most often holds the key to your greatest healing. When you begin to see others not as enemies or saviors, but as mirrors, judgment fades. You start to recognize that everyone is playing a role in your evolution, even those who seem to stand against you. The angry, the distant, the unavailable, they, too, are messengers of the soul. They mirror the unhealed wounds you carry and invite you to meet yourself with honesty. The mirror is not meant to condemn, but to awaken. When someone triggers deep emotion, it is the soul's way of saying, "Look here, this is where love is needed." If you can pause before reacting, if you can see the reflection rather than the person, you step out of victimhood and into wisdom. You begin to thank the mirror instead of resenting it. But there are also luminous mirrors, those rare souls who see you beyond your flaws, who hold you in light even when you cannot. They remind you of your divine essence. In their eyes, you glimpse the truth of who you really are. These are the mirrors of remembrance, the ones who help you recall the self that exists beyond pain, beyond stories. The most profound awakening happens when you realize that everyone is your teacher, and you are theirs. What you offer to others, love, patience, compassion, returns to you through 1,000 reflections. The outer world becomes a canvas where your inner world is painted again and again, until you finally recognize that the faces you see are all versions of yourself, wearing different masks so you may love yourself in new ways. And one day, you will meet a mirror who reflects both your light and your darkness so perfectly that it shatters every illusion. You may call this person a soulmate, a twin flame, or a divine counterpart, but in truth, they are the reflection that brings you back to wholeness. Because every encounter, from the gentle to the painful, is love in disguise, love teaching itself to see, to forgive, and to become whole again. Not every path you walk will take you where you intended to go, but every path will take you where you are meant to be. Life rarely moves in straight lines. It curves, pauses, and doubles back, leading you through unexpected places, people, and experiences. And while the human mind calls them mistakes or wrong turns, the soul knows better. Every detour is part of the way home. Sometimes, what feels like failure is simply redirection. A door closes because your spirit no longer belongs there. A relationship ends because it has already fulfilled its purpose. A dream dissolves because a deeper one is waiting to be born. The universe doesn't deny what is meant for you. It simply rearranges the path until you are ready to receive it. You may resist, of course. We all do. We cling to what we think life should look like. We call the detours unfair, confusing, painful. But one day, often much later, you look back and realize the closed door saved you, the heartbreak awakened you, the delay protected you. What felt like loss was grace wearing a disguise. Every soul has its timing. Some lessons can only be learned through wandering. You might lose your way so that you can find your faith. You might break so that compassion can take root. The detours aren't punishments, they are invitations to slow down, to listen, to see that there is meaning even in what feels meaningless. The path home is not a straight highway but a labyrinth. Every turn matters. Every encounter, every mistake, every pause contributes to your becoming. The soul doesn't rush. It knows that even confusion has a rhythm. The moments you feel most lost are often the ones when your higher self is guiding you most strongly, gently steering you toward what your human self cannot yet see. You've never truly been off course. The divine intelligence within you cannot fail. Even when you wander into shadows, the light remains, waiting patiently for you to remember. The detours, in truth, are the journey itself. Sacred interruptions designed to lead you back to the center of your being. When you finally arrive, when the twists and turns bring you full circle, you realize you were never meant to reach a destination. You were meant to awaken, to see that home was never a place outside you, but the awareness that everything has meaning. The heartbreaks, the waiting, the unanswered prayers. All of them were signposts. Every wrong turn was simply love, guiding you through experience, shaping you into someone capable of recognizing truth. So the next time life reroutes you, pause before calling it a mistake. Trust that the divine cartographer knows every road. Even the long way around is still the way home. There comes a time, often after years of wandering through confusion, heartbreak, and searching, when the veil begins to lift. The moments that once seemed random start to form a pattern, like stars aligning into a constellation. You look back and realize that everything, even the detours, was leading you here. This is the moment of awakening, when life stops being a series of coincidences and becomes a language of meaning. Awakening does not arrive in thunder or lightning. It arrives softly, often in silence. Sometimes it comes after tears, sometimes after surrender. It is the quiet realization that nothing was wasted. Not the waiting, not the loss, not even the pain. You begin to sense an invisible intelligence weaving through your story, guiding you with perfect precision. At first, this awareness feels fragile. You start noticing synchronicities, numbers repeating, words echoing from different mouths, songs that seem to answer your thoughts. You feel déjà vu, that strange knowing that you've been here before, not just in place but in experience. These are whispers from your higher self, gentle reminders that you are not wandering blind. The universe is always speaking, through people, through patterns, through silence. But in the noise of daily life, it is easy to miss its voice. Awakening happens when you finally stop running long enough to listen. You begin to see that your choices were never wrong, only necessary. Each mistake was a teacher wearing the mask of error. Each heartbreak was a passage toward truth. And then something shifts. The mind, which once demanded control, begins to trust. The heart, once guarded by fear, begins to open. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" In that single change of perspective, your entire life begins to transform. You realize that the same lessons have been repeating, different faces, same energy, until you were ready to see the people you attracted, the cycles of loss and renewal, the recurring themes of your story. All of it was the universe trying to get your attention, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Awakening is not the end of pain, it is the beginning of understanding. You still feel, You still fall, but you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance. You see the divine choreography behind every step. You realize that your soul has been leading you toward yourself all along. And with that understanding comes peace. Not the peace of having everything figured out, but the peace of trusting that even what you don't understand yet has purpose. When patterns begin to make sense, you realize that destiny was never a distant force controlling you. It was your own soul, patiently guiding you through experience, waiting for the moment you would finally remember. And when you do, you whisper to yourself, with quiet awe, it was all leading here. It was never random. It was always me. There comes a point on every soul's journey when the struggle begins to quiet and the need to control fades like a distant echo. This is the peace of surrender, not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. It is the moment you stop trying to force life to obey your timeline and instead allow it to unfold according to divine order. You realize that you were never truly steering the course. You were learning to flow with it. Every delay, every ending, every unexpected turn was a hidden act of grace. The mind once called them obstacles, but the soul calls them alignments. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving in to the deeper rhythm that has always guided you. It's the recognition that you are part of something vast, something intelligent, something loving. You no longer need to understand every detail because you trust the one who wrote the design. When you surrender, fear begins to loosen its grip. You stop clinging to outcomes and open your hands to possibility. You stop chasing what isn't meant to stay and allow what is true to find its way to you. Life becomes less of a battle and more of a conversation, a dance between your will and the will of the universe. And in that surrender, peace blooms, not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer demand that it be. You start to see perfection in imperfection, beauty in uncertainty. You realize that nothing is missing and nothing was ever wasted. The divine order holds everything, even the parts that once felt broken. This is the quiet joy of awakening, not in getting what you want, but in trusting what is. You rest in the knowing that every soul, every event, every turn of fate has meaning beyond what the eyes can see. You begin to live with an open heart, not because life guarantees safety, but because love itself becomes your faith. The peace of surrender is the soul's final remembering that it was never separate from the plan, never apart from the source. You are the design and the designer, the traveler and the path, the question and the answer, and in that realization, you exhale deeply, softly, as if for the first time. Because now you know nothing was ever an accident, everything was love, guiding you home. If this message touched something deep within you, take a moment to breathe and remember, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Every story, every encounter, every heartbeat is part of your divine design. And if this video helped you see a little more clearly the invisible threads that guide your path, consider supporting this channel through the Super Thanks option. It helps us continue sharing messages of light, healing, and remembrance. Your energy, your presence, your support, they mean more than you know. Until next time, stay open to the signs, trust the timing, and keep walking your sacred path with faith. The next video is already on its way, and it might just arrive when your soul needs it most.